What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Get It Out Podcast, where we confront hard issues like addiction, hardship, and failure. Here to motivate you and give you all the jewels you need to treasure your life. I'm your host, Pat Hamill, here with my brother, William Hustle.
What up, what up, what up?
And we are continuing this series, Get It Out. On this episode, we'll be talking about drug awareness and addiction. Let's get it.
So what's been going on during the week with you?
So I'll tell you, it's sometimes life has a way of bringing things back around full circle. Like you overcome. 5 years ago, I'm smoking meth, and my life is over. I was able to overcome that and had a want for a better life. But what I've found, and especially in some of my closest relationships, is that when things don't go my way, my old wiring comes out. Will and I got in an argument at work this week over
We did not get into an argument.
Well,
Pat got into an argument.
with myself. I got in an argument with myself. So what I mean is that when things are smooth, it's easy to keep a positive attitude. It's easy to keep just joy and love coming. But then you get pushed a little bit. It's do you want to get out of this rut where you've called whatever way I'm making a living right now is not my purpose, is not
That's
my
right.
it's not my future. So I have to push myself a little bit. And I find that when I'm pushing myself, I'm pushing back a little bit because I'm going out of my comfort zone. And you fall back on that old wiring that, oh man, this is too tough. We're not going to be able to do this. This is just too much. I can't do more than one thing. I can do one thing and one thing at a time. There's no way I can do this, this, and this. It's just not going to work. And you start to get that defeatist attitude that I was an addict and I had a defeatist attitude. I knew that I was not worthy of happiness. I knew that I was not worthy of success. So now, again, and it's just something that I have to be cognizant of, that I push myself a little bit to go outside my comfort zone, to grow, to build this business with Will, and it's definitely make me take a hard look at myself, and I have to now rewire so that I can accomplish all my goals and dreams. I have to go through the hard stuff, and I have to fight that voice in my head that says, this is too much. You just can't do that. And I was a little surprised that I guess I keep myself in easy situations, and a lot of us do, so that we don't get
Uncomfortable.
But I think we'll all find is that when we get uncomfortable, we start to have those old feelings of less than, of lacking, of not being worthy of success, and just it's easy to quit. Nothing in this life comes easy, but it's very easy to quit.
Except struggle. Struggle comes easy.
But we definitely lose and don't have success with the chances that we don't take. If you don't take that chance, nothing is ever going to happen. You can dream and think and talk, and I'm one of the best talkers there are in the world. I mean, that's really one of my best attributes, but it's action, man. It's the action that really gets you to where you need to be. And we just have to be conscious that there's going to be that voice in our head from past bad wiring that we have to fight through as well. It's not
Yes.
just the uncomfortability; it's the programming that we've had for years of our life that comes back out and says, "Man, there's no way you're going to be able to do that. There's no way that this is going to come to fruition. And, nobody's going to want to listen to you and hear your story. Who the hell are you? And that's the stuff that you have to really fight through. That's the stuff that if you can stay out of your own way, you will be successful.
Period. Point blank. Period. Point blank. But it was a word you used, defeatist.
A defeatist attitude.
I was finna ask Siri what that meant. Um, Serious, what does defeatist mean?
And I want to say one last thing too before we get on the episode. Will and I had a very serious talk today, and this man right here, in case any of you don't know him, he doesn't just help his family. He carries his family, and he does it with pride. He does it with love. And there's people that come into our lives, and it doesn't matter how much love, how much support, how much kindness you give them. They can only meet you as far as they're willing to meet themselves.
Right is right, wrong is wrong.
And I think that over and over again, we get these people cross our paths that just don't have the same morals, don't have the same values, and they don't have the ability to really love and care for themselves. So your kindness and love to them, it's almost like it falls on deaf ears. And I think one thing we always have to be mindful of is that if someone is not on our level and they bring negativity and drama to the table and they bring a underlying bad thing to the table, we have to lower ourselves to meet them on their level. The ultimate goal here is to stay our true, genuine selves.
Keep elevating.
Because when we're up here, you know, there's not going to be room for them because they're not going to be on our plane. So sometimes we get these harsh lessons where people they do us wrong. And I think it's just a lesson from God or the universe that's just letting us know that these people don't belong in our lives. Not everybody gets a seat at our table.
Yes, everybody.
Not everybody
meant to sit at your table.
And not everybody's going to be along for the ride. And I just wanted to put that out there because this man right next to me gives everything that he has to his loved ones, to his family, and especially to his friends. And I'm grateful every day that I get to call this man a friend. But
That's
I had to vocalize that and get it out because that's the last little thing. We had a long, about a 20-minute talk today, Will and I, and definitely had a lot to do with that.
Man, it's crazy. Because we got to get to the episode. We got to get to the quote of the day. But in all religious books, our religious books say, "Love thy neighbor." We don't love our neighbor. We don't love our neighbor. We run our neighbor house, so many things. But love is everything. Everything that's universal, religion, man. If it's what you say, man, it's all based on love. And when you make actions that are not based on love and your intentions are not based on love, then you're gonna screw people over. It's just that simple. And let's get to our quote of the day.
All right. So I wrote this the other day for my birthday, and this was just something that was on my mind that day. Turned 47, but let's get it. One thing I've learned in 47 years is that in order to change, we can't hold on to the painful thoughts and feelings that life is sure to give us. So whatever you're feeling right now, don't let it eat you up or eat away at your peace and joy. Learn to open up so it will stop eating you up. Your thoughts and feelings need to be aired and shared in order for them to move on. Things don't improve by you keeping them to yourself. They only get worse. Today, remember that you don't have to solve those painful thoughts and feelings on your own. Ultimately, you weren't supposed to. Share how you're feeling and what you're going through. I promise that things will get better when we go through them together. Love yourself, live in the moment, and enjoy this beautiful day.
That quote right there is perfect. Forget it out.
Yeah.
Could be the slogan, forget it out. But it's crazy because I just posted a video yesterday or today, and I said the less I say, the more people understand me.
Mm.
Because the more I say, the more passion comes out and could possibly go to aggression. I just realized that today. So let's get it started.
So, first things first, addiction is all around us, whether it's narcotics, food, gaming, or toxic relationships, we can all be consumed by something if we're not careful. When a person gains a ton of weight from overeating, it's easier to criticize them because their addiction or bad habit is noticeable. But what about the drugs people can easily hide? This is why we can't judge folks for their addictions. We got to be of help to everyone. Will, you were addicted to the streets. How did that happen?
My mom lost her mother and father very young, 23, 22, 23, 24. And she had to take care of me, her two little brothers, and her sister. And I just watched my mom working 2, 3 jobs her whole life. So I think it's about the 6th grade, 5th, 6th grade, I was already doing stuff, lying to my mama just to give her money. Didn't know that $50, $100 back then wasn't nothing, but it was a lot to me. I'm just trying to help her, and it just went from there, man. I had to help her take care of the family, hold down the family. It was nothing else to be said if I didn't. I don't even think my mom would be here.
Right.
From how she had to hold down the family. So I mean, it was just that simple. I don't want to say I was pushing into it because I chose to. It's nothing my mom ever asked me. It's just me observing as a son, watching the first person that I ever loved never be home because she always working, and then understanding why she wasn't home, and it was like, oh, I gotta help her get some money.
Yeah.
It was like real simple for me. That's why I can't cry about the streets. That's why I actually say I used to love the streets because I had to. I chose to go to the streets.
In a way, it did bring some type of normalcy to your family just by being able to bring something to the table.
Seriously.
I mean, if there's nothing there, something's always better than nothing. So
if my mom didn't take over her siblings, man, there's no telling where the family would be at.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was like the key to the family.
So I think a big question that we all, I think at one time or another have been guilty of is that we judge people for being addicted to their coping mechanisms. You see someone that's overweight and you're quick to, make a joke or point a finger. But have you walked a mile in their shoes? You see a drug addict panhandling on the street. Do you know what that person's story is? No. But it's easy for us to judge and say, well, look at this drug addict. But again, none of us can really look inside that person and see what has brought them to that point.
You don't know their story.
I can guarantee you that someone that's panhandling, an addict that's just trying to get a hit or is asking you for $1 or $5 for some food on the street corner, these people weren't born with that ideology. Life has given them that ideology. They have been through some type of pain, some type of trauma that has led them to this point. And I think if more of us kind of ask the question, what got them to this point, we would be less apt to judge, and we'd be more apt to put a helping hand out and actually change this person's life. Because again, if we all just picked each other up when we were down, I mean, this world would be such a beautiful place. But everyone wants to, even the troubled child that's in school, I can guarantee you the kids that get in trouble most of the time in school are the ones that have the hardest home life. And I mean, again, society wants to label people, but again, what was the cause of that labeling? What made them get to that point? And I think oftentimes, and all of us have been guilty of it, we're quicker to want to judge than understand. And I think that's something that we can all work on.
So I made a joke a day or two ago at work. And Pat was like, hey, and we laughed about the joke. And it felt good to me because I don't do that too often. And he said, man, we can't be doing that when we're out here trying to help people. And I've been thinking on that hard, like
Yeah.
We can't joke with people
No.
without people thinking that, because I made a statement one day at work, and someone took it offensive,
and I came up to them. They said something to me, and then I said something to Will the next day, and I said, because that's not who we are. We're not out here trying to break people down.
And he was a friend. Like
yeah.
he's one we consider a friend. I was upset that he even took it like that. But it made me very aware that
Oh, words are powerful,
I
man.
had to watch
Mm-hmm.
what I say. And it wasn't no, oh, you tripping, that's soft. I really have to watch what I say. But let's keep it moving along. Why is it that we are okay with calling drugs and addiction cool when some fancy actors plays a part or rap lyrics put us in a catchy song? That was just a twist sentence to me. But anyway, if we're honest, our country has made it being an addict cool. This makes it so much harder to be aware of drugs. Not every addict is on the street corner or crack house. Real talk, some really do work and maintain.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are our friends and family who claim to do drugs
Recreationally.
recreationally because
And I think that's
that's
a huge thing.
that's
because,
like gotta be in the top 3.
yeah.
I only do it recreational.
Yeah, like you just, hey man, we only stop and do cocaine. It's like a once a month thing. We
Even
all get
drinking.
together. Even drinking.
What is recreational?
Drinking.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I really feel with alcohol, that's really the starting point for a lot of the takeoff point for a lot of other stuff, because you get drunk. At least in my world, you'd be at the bar, you start drinking, it's 2 a.m, you want to keep going, you get some cocaine, and then the next thing you know, it's the next day, and that slowly becomes just a once in a while thing, to where it becomes a staple point in your life. Um, and now you also have the other thing that you have opiates and narcotics that are over the table. I mean, as far as prescribed by a doctor, but
Like the
the,
meth clinics.
and people on Suboxone and whatever else, and this is a um, medically approved treatment, but these people are still using the same parts of their brain that would spark, a high.
One
or,
drug to another drug.
and it's like you never get out of that cycle. You're never really clean if you have to be on Suboxone the rest of your life. Or, I mean, and I think that it still never lets you be your true self, because you're always still having to use something to function. And if you're still having to use something to function, then you're really not doing anything on your own accord.
I could have heard it many times, but I truly heard it from you about just trauma. And just knowing that people just have went through so much trauma, listening to you from the trauma you went through as a child, and just seeing how, if we talk about it, how I can see the pain and stuff on your face, it started making me realize other people's stories. And I
Mhm.
don't know if you know that, bro. When you talk about it like you did the other day, man, you can see it, how it still affects you today. What happened to you as a child?
Yeah, and it does, and not as much, but I have my moments where, um, a conversation comes up, and like, well, you didn't have this like I did, or this or that, and then it's like something triggers, and I'm like, well, man, I didn't ask for this, and this, but it's like, if you really, undo or go under the surface, a lot of our pain and trauma is hardwired in, and we can continue to rewire. We continue to talk about it and let it go. But when you identify as, and you let your pain and trauma define you for not years, but decades, then, even when you're 5 years removed from this addiction, you still have things that you have to constantly work on, or you'll fall back into negative thinking patterns, uh, you know, bad reactions. You'll react poorly when people are just trying to be loving, or just trying to ask you questions. You'll take it as a, like somebody's attacking you. And there are certain things that we just constantly have to be on guard and working towards growing, to get out of our lives. And that's the mental, um, that's the mental outlook that every addict or everybody that's dealt with pain and trauma has to go through. And, we have to constantly rewire that we are not the victim. We are not broken. We are everything we've been through. There's an inherent lesson and something that we can shine a light for someone else that's going through the same thing. We got dealt at one time a bad hand, but now we get to use that pain and trauma to help other people as long as you're willing to share your story, as long as you're willing to open up.
Get it out. Um, have you ever noticed how trendy it is to live an addictive lifestyle?
I mean, they definitely hype up. The cool people smoke cigarettes. The all the rappers, um,
Lean.
they do their lean with.
I done heard a couple rappers say they don't even do it. They just rap about like they do it.
I
But they
mean,
don't
but
even
you're
really do
telling
it.
you're telling people that codeine and and Kool Aid is cool, man, and codeine's very addictive. So it's like, um, yeah, there's definitely places where and celebrities that do try to hype up basically drugs and addictions because you can only do codeine for so long before you're addicted to it. I
That's
mean,
right.
you can't just sit and play around with that. That's why doctors prescribe a small bottle of it. They don't prescribe a bottle every weekend. They don't prescribe a bottle every couple days. It's hey, take this two little spoonfuls here or there. So yeah, I think that there's a lot that is that we get pushed on the younger generation or just kids that are impressionable looking up to these people. So most definitely it's something that I think as a parent you should be conscious of what your kids are listening to and always have talks as far as just this is what the downside of this is because there's definitely a downside.
Yes, sir.
Compassionate community. When people promote drug awareness, it usually involves a whole community of people. It's pretty effective. They have groups, contests, walks, runs, and conferences. The point is to remind addicts that they're not alone. Leaving someone alone with a monster is sentencing them to a life of suffering. And I can definitely, I like to say that again. Leaving someone alone with a monster is sentencing them to a life of suffering. I had I had a demon on my back for 25 years of my life. I had hate for people that hurt me. I wanted to hurt people back. I was in so much pain that I had to self medicate. Alcohol became marijuana, became cocaine, became crack, became meth. And all in all, for brief moments, I thought I was uh, escaping my pain. But every day when I woke up, it was right back there again. Every day I had to remedicate. And what ends up happening is that you lose years of your life to your pain and to your trauma. Addiction only covers up that pain and trauma for a short period of time. It's a band aid to a huge wound, and that blood, everything is still seeping through. So yeah, community counts. It's the
Facts.
best way to show compassion for people hiding their addictions and to give support to those with family members and friends who are suffering. What Will and I are doing here is again making aware because this battle is not being won. There are
We losing.
millions. There's
We
millions
losing.
of people losing their lives every year to addiction, alcoholism, drug abuse, and there's not near enough people like ourselves trying to shine a light on this.
And they are making you said, man. They are making it so cool and keeping it so much in your face that you don't even have time to think to go do anything. All you want to
I'm
do is get high,
and
party, and have fun.
and how many, I can tell you this, alcoholism is rampant in both sides of my family, mother and father side. But how many commercials show a good time with
Period.
some alcohol?
Every
Do
commercial.
you ever see people having a good time in a commercial
Seriously.
without drinking? And I can say this: I've done every drug that there is, but alcohol brings out the worst in us. People that consistently drink are stripped of their morals and values, and they become very they can become very hateful and very shallow beings that, um, unless you're joining them at the local bar or if you're having a beer with them,
To go to the same level.
yeah, then you're in some way, you know, not in their good graces. So I
Facts.
think, you look at these commercials and how society has done this, and again, even our Super Bowls, our World Series, every festival that there is somehow saying that, man, you really need a drink to really make this thing right, to really make this thing go off. Boy, it'd be better if you had a drink. And I think that more damage has been done with alcohol than almost any other drug out there.
Facts. And you see, you could walk right in the store to get it. It's everything. If they could legalize cocaine and crack, I personally believe they would. If they could figure out how
Oh
to
my
tax it,
gosh. Yeah.
I believe they would. They just haven't been able to figure out how to tax the drugs that are destroying our nation.
I believe they do that in
Seriously.
Europe. You can just go somewhere and then they have little places where you do your drugs and stuff, like, so it's not
Wow.
on the street.
So it's down the street.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I mean, I ain't saying that's cool, but that's smart.
I mean, you keep the criminals. I mean, they're
Keep
not
'em
robbing
You
anybody.
keep them in one area.
Right. You're like, look, here you go. Here's a square where you do your heroin or you do. And I mean, I'm not saying that's right either, but I'll
And
tell
we're
you.
not trying to laugh about it, but I mean,
No, I mean, it's
seriously.
like that's
Look at the concept here. We'll give you all somewhere to go do
and do
your
your
drugs,
drugs.
so you're not all in the
Right.
citizens' yards and
Right.
houses and things like
So
that.
it's like out of sight, out of mind. And I
Really.
mean, but it's really not a very caring or compassionate program because you're still giving them a free line to die. I mean, and destroy their lives.
I mean, they're gonna do what they looking at. They're gonna do what they're gonna do anyway. And I'm just looking at it from both points of views. How they saying it.
So the cage that calls us. Drugs are not an escape. They're a trap.
Trap.
When you have one life to live, do you really want to waste it on something that's destroying, something that can't love you back?
Now, I have to stop you, man, because I tell you all the time. Only difference between us is that I sold drugs.
Right.
I loved selling drugs and I loved the street life. I was addicted to it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. But I was throwing my life away. And I didn't realize it for something that I loved. I just had to stop you and say that.
You're good. Let's continue to raise awareness. We could save a life along the way. Addiction is never really about what has us in a cage. It's about why we feel the need to be caged in the first place. Why do we need to destroy ourselves? What pain, what trauma, what event has caused us to be so complacent and so out of touch with our own happiness, our own joy? And that's really the ultimate thing about addiction. It's all about just not having that self-love, not having the will to want a better life because of something that's happened along the way that really, that event had nothing to really do with us. It was not our fault. But as an addict, my abuse, my trauma, all that stuff that I carried for 2 decades, every day that I carried that from day one of that event, that was on me. Now, as a 9-year-old, I couldn't comprehend that and deal with that. But as a 21-year-old father, or as a 25-year-old father, or as a 30-year-old man, I could have most definitely opened up and tried to deal with it. But at that point,
You didn't know you didn't get past it.
it was too hard. It was like I was already so far gone, and that's how life works, man. You get one crazy thing happen to you as a kid, and then life keeps bringing stuff to the table. You're going to have stresses as a teenager. I was a father of 3 by 25, 26, and then I have the man, look at this. I'm doing drugs and I can't just love my wife. I can't be the loving father I want to be to my kids. More shit to bring me down, more stuff to think down on myself on. And then that stuff just keeps going. And that stuff that never was dealt with from day one has seeded and grown into something that's just incomprehensible. I mean, you're so bound to the fact that you don't deserve a good life. You don't deserve happiness, that it really doesn't matter what anyone else says. or does for you until you want to do something for yourself.
And so I'm going to tell everyone that's listening, it doesn't matter how long you've been an addict. It doesn't matter what you don't have. The first step is to want to change.
Mhm.
Like I said, I was addicted to the streets, and I would have never left until I was put in a position to be forced to have to change. So if you're feeling that inside of you, and you won't stop until enough is enough.
Yeah, as an addict, there's a level of shame and self-hatred that just ensnares us because not only do we see ourselves self-destroying, but we really bring nothing good to the table for people that we genuinely love and care about. You see your children suffering. You see a wife that you love suffering. You see a mother that tries to be there for you all the time suffering, all because of things you continue to do. And it's like living a nightmare. And it's so hard to get out of. And that's why only 10% of us make it out. 90% of addicts die addicts. And that's such a crazy statistic.
But it's real.
But it's the realest thing that there is. Once you go down that path, you have a 90% chance of dying an addict. And that just lets us know that not enough people are being heard. And there's too many people that, like you said, feel like they're alone. I'm here to remind you that your life is one of a kind and precious. You're going to survive this, and you are not alone. We are here for you.
513-910-1861, William Hustle.
513-512-8218. Please call. I say it all the time, but if I can change, anyone can. My last day using, I was driving to work. I'd been up for 6 days on meth, and I'd pushed everybody out of my life. But on the way to work, I look over, and there was a shadow person in the side seat. There was a demon in the back seat. And, I'd pushed everyone out of my life, but my car was filled with just evil and just bad stuff that I was manifesting. And at that point, I realized that I could no longer go another day and lie to myself and say that this isn't somehow a manageable life. It was either time to start living or start dying, and or just end it all. And I'm grateful every day that just by me calling into work and saying I can't do this anymore, I was in tears. Just I couldn't. Every time I looked up, these people were still here. Just nasty things were still around me. Dead people were around me, and this is what I was manifesting into my life, just evil. And just by calling into work and saying I can't do this anymore, because I was ready to kill him, I was just ready to end it. When I got home, the cops were waiting there for me, and I'd been in trouble in my hometown because I was always the troubled person, but nobody ever wanted to. There was people that loved me and looked out, but for the most part, anybody in the community, I was a troublemaker. He's just maybe a bad seed. There's something that's just inherently wrong with him. Nobody took the time to say what did this person go through. But I'm here to tell you, I will always take the time to say, what did you go through? Where have you been? What is your story? And once you can tell your story, I can promise you there will be a relief. There'll be a release, and there will be peace. And that's what we're all looking for, man.
Just get it out.
You've been listening to the Get It Out podcast. We're your hosts, Big Pat
and William Hustle.
And if you've liked what you've heard, feel free to subscribe and share. To stay connected, you can head over to our Get It Out podcast Facebook page for more motivation. Remember, you're not alone in this. DM us if you need to be connected to resources in your area. Much love.
And light.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Great.
Don't forget the light. Love and light. Yeah, Diddy. You ain't the only love. I got Big Pat here.
You know.
You know what I'm saying, mate, Diddy?